Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I am losing sunlight. Today we are going to do the Guilty Reader tag, which is a tag about guilty reading things that I may have done or may have not done. And the sun is setting, so let's do this. And the original creator was Is That Chammy? So I will link her video down below. Let's do this. Obviously no one tagged me in this. I'm tagging myself and I'm tagging you if you are watching this to do the Guilty Reader tag. Have you ever regifted a book that you've been given? No. First of all, people don't often give me books. I also don't give other people books, so I don't think I could give away something that someone else gave me unless I really didn't like it. But no, I've never done this. Have you ever said you've read a book when you haven't? No. I tend to be unfortunately honest, and I tend to admit when I haven't read a book. I always say, well, I didn't read that book. Haven't read that book. Like, I'm not ashamed that I haven't read a book. Well, no, I am ashamed, but I admit it. I admit if I haven't read a book. Have you ever borrowed a book and not returned it? I feel like accidentally, yes, maybe? Maybe. The case in this is my brother's, I think he let me borrow Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like a big, I think it's like an omnibus of all the books, I'm not sure. And I still have it. It's been like 10 years. I don't know if he actually ever wanted it back. He's never brought it up. I haven't spoken to him in years, but he never brought it up around the time either that he wanted it back, so I guess technically, like, it's not like I asked for the book though, and he loaned it to me or something, so it's not like I did it on purpose. Don't look at me. Have you ever read a series out of order? No. No, who does this? Who reads series out of order? Like, unless the books are all unconnected, you can read them in whatever order, but even then, I prefer to read books in, like, either chronological or publication order, depending on the series. What, you're gonna read Mockingjay, then The Hunger Games, then Catching Fire? Like, that just doesn't, I don't understand. Have you ever spoiled a book for someone? I feel like no. Like, no. Only if they said that they were okay with being spoiled for it. Or, like, if I know that they're never going to read the book, then I'll spoil it. At least not intentionally. Like, maybe there have been some point in my time where I've written a Goodreads review and not paid attention to marking my spoilers and have spoiled someone, but hopefully not. Like, I feel like not. Like, spoiling other people is just rude. Have you ever doggy-eared a book? Probably not. I'm not really sure. Like, maybe when I was really young, possibly, but generally not. I like to keep my books pristine. That doesn't really work out for me, and a lot of my books are not pristine, but I like to try and keep things nice if I possibly can. I don't often read a lot of my own books. I read library books, and oh my god, there's nothing more annoying than reading a library book and finding a doggy-eared page. It's like, you doggy-eared a library book? What is wrong with you? That's not even your book. That's cruel and unusual is what that is. Shame. Have you ever told someone you don't own a book when you do? No, I don't think so. Anyway, certainly not on purpose, because if I own a book, I'll admit it. Like, if I own Twilight, I'd admit it. I don't own Twilight. I think my mother has New Moon, though. Don't think she actually has Twilight. I think she just has New Moon. What's the shame in even having a bad book on your shelves? Like, I guess, I don't know if you're, like, really ashamed of a book that you own or something, but, like, if you're really ashamed of it, get rid of it. Have you ever told someone you haven't read a book when you have? No. Again, I tend to be very honest and just admit it if I happen to have read a book, even if it was a book that I didn't like. Like, I can admit I've read the entire Twilight series. I will admit, I will happily tell you about how I broke my last computer illegally trying to illegally download Breaking Dawn the day it came out, which was really stupid. It was like, it was just like in the middle of the night too, like right after it came out, and I was trying to illegally download it and I broke my computer. I will admit that, even though it is so shameful, not just the fact that I was trying to illegally download a book, but also the fact that it was Breaking Dawn, like those two things combined. Like, that's pretty shameful, but I will happily tell you about it because it's hilarious to me. Don't feel that kind of shame about books. Like, I don't know why. Like, I can't think of a book that I would be ashamed to tell people I've read. Like, I don't know, I guess maybe this more applies to like erotica or something, which I haven't read any erotica, so maybe if it was erotica, I would be a little more unwilling to admit it, but have you ever skipped a chapter or a section of a book? No, but I have skimmed. I think everyone does that though. Everyone skims something that they just really don't want to read and they just want to move on with. I try not to do it anymore, but sometimes you just don't want to read that random sex scene between two characters that you don't like. Like, it's making you very uncomfortable, so you skim past it. Or it's a character's chapter that you don't even like this character, or maybe you don't even remember them from the previous book, so you just skim it because you don't really care what they're up to or what they're doing. Sometimes I have done that, but I wouldn't intentionally just skip over it. Like, there could be some important nugget hidden in there. You have to at least skim it, just to make sure that there's nothing important going on. Skim, don't skip. Have you ever badmouthed a book you actually liked? No. No? Let's see, this is a hard question because what is badmouthing? I like books that I've had problems with as well. What do you mean? Like, when I read Twilight, I sort of almost liked it. Like, I liked it. I probably liked it, but I would also, tread it. Like, I'm imagining the scenario of two friends talking, and one person is bashing some book or another. They're bashing Gemina for some reason, which I can't imagine you would bash it unless you're bashing someone with it. And the other person is like, oh yeah, that book sucks, even though they happen to love that book. Like, that's the scenario I'm picturing, and I have never been in that scenario, so as we've covered, I admit to things. Overall, I guess I'm not that guilty of a reader. This is the most boring tag video I have ever done, and I haven't even done that many. Yeah, that's all the questions, so I guess I have completed the guilty reader tag. I feel pretty guilty. I have all my books in boxes. I have books that I haven't read. There's so many books that I haven't read. I never finish series, it feels like. I like to read the first book and then I forget to read the rest of it. I read multiple books at once. I am reading like 10 books technically right now, or I'm in the middle of 10 books right now, and right now I think I'm like reading 2 books concurrently, and if I was reading a audiobook, I'd be reading a 3rd. So I'm guilty of other things, but I am not guilty of these things. Anyway, so I guess that completes the guilty reader tag, and therefore completes this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!